Welcome to Joy News Prime. Tonight in the bulletin, the Defense Minister, Dominic Neto, reveals Operation Hall Task Force charged to rid the country's water bodies of illegal mining is facing local resistance, with some chiefs leading the charge.
The local chief tried to mobilize the youth against the military. You have 400 soldiers, and they are helping you to clean your river body. They didn't go to seize your house to sleep. If they did, I will not be against it. But they are trying to sleep in a secondary school. And you, the chief, insists that they have no right to sleep in that structure. They should leave your town.
Well, the Lands and Natural Resources Minister has dissociated himself from any form of harassment of small-scale miners.
So I want to make it very clear that task forces which are moving about the country harassing small-scale miners, whether they are involved in legal or illegal mining, the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources has not mandated the operation of any task forces.
Another fire outbreak in the Ashanti regional capital, Kumasi, was causing the fires. Tonight, we probe this and find solutions. We have business also in the bulletin, and then later on we have an update on the National Science and Maths quiz tonight from the Central Region, where students and teachers of Agri Memorial Senior High School say no opposition will be an impediment in the quest for a first NSMQ trophy. My name is Israel, and Joy News Prime is coming to you live from our Fanofa studios at Kokonmimli here in Accra on your digital terrestrial TV, because we're free to, and also on DSTV channel 421 and GoTV channel 144. This is the home of independent, fearless, credible, and impactful journalism. Do stay tuned in. Now, first story, the Ashanti region has recorded 8 deaths from 127 fire outbreaks in the first quarter of the year. On account of the number of fires, it marks an improvement over the 226 fires recorded over the same period last year. Despite the reduction in incidents, there were more casualties this year. So what can be done to address this disturbing situation? Shortly, we'll connect with our correspondent Nane Aljima, who's covered a number of these incidents. First, though, he reports on some fire incidents in the region and measures to control them.
The latest fire outbreak happened on Tuesday dawn at a slum in Krofrom in Kumasi, where about 40 wooden shacks were destroyed.
Misika niema nyina mesanya niema mato nyina bibia
Barely a week ago, a 17-year-old driver's mate died after fire ravaged part of the Asafu BB slum near Kokobot building. A fortnight ago, 40 people were displaced when a compound house at Aloga Junction was gutted by fire. In April, 10 offices in the administration block of the Mampong College of Education were destroyed by fire. There was an intensified call for a fire station at the Amansia South District after an inferno killed a family of 4 at Manso Aponapon. Another fire at the footwear section of the Kumasi Central Market destroyed property worth thousands of Ghana cedis. In March, a 9-year-old boy was killed in an inferno after his mother's boyfriend set their 4-room apartment ablaze. In the same month, about 50 residents of a home at Otafo were displaced after fire gutted their 7-bedroom house. Earlier in the year, fire ravaged a story building at Abuabu Station near the Kumasi Central Market. On the same day, another fire gutted part of a market sited behind the Republic Hall of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, where about 11 stores were affected. A major inferno in January swept through part of the Dagomba line, where hundreds of wooden shacks were destroyed. Fire officers attributed the incident to poor fire safety precaution in homes and markets. Ashanti Region Public Relations Officer DO3 Desmond Aka explains poor wiring and leakage of gas are leading causes of domestic and market fires.
So the problem here is if the citizenry are going to be responsible enough to ensure that the gas leakages are stopped, their electrical wiring faults are rectified by competent electricians. They have properly installed earth wires, lightning arresters. They have done the rewiring that we've been talking about. They have actually gone the extra mile to actually keep their homes and their premises in very good conditions. That is, the housekeeping has actually come to standard.
DO3 Aka says the service is on a sensitization drive to help curtail such fire incidents. He, however, recommended the evacuation of slum dwellers.
We have been in touch with the leadership of the slum. We've also written to the city authorities to help us get rid of these slums, because once these slums continue to remain, if you go there, you look at the way they put up their makeshift structures, it is appalling. So that if there is a fire in one particular structure, it easily spreads and it destroys a lot more property than usual. So if the city authority can come together and then find a suitable place and then move them from such places and then ensure that they give them a decent accommodation, I mean, these slum fires will be a thing of the past. But notwithstanding, we have been in touch with the leadership, with the people in the slum communities. We are in talk with them. We are educating them as to how best they could safely use candles, mosquito coils, and naked light, and then also do away with illegal wiring connection.
For Joy News, Nane Aljima reporting.
And we're joined now by Nane Aljima for more on this. So, Nane, you've been to the scene of many of these fires. What has been your own observation?
So, as the fire officer said in his interview, it's evident that, especially in the slums, the way the settlements are, it's very difficult for the fire service to get through to the areas where the fires are to help douse the flame. So accessibility to these areas is one major issue that's affecting them as they try to fight these fires that have been engulfing such areas like the slums. And also the materials used in setting up these places. These are wooden structures, and according to the fire service, it's easy for these structures to burn when there is an outbreak. So that's another issue that's helping these flames in the slums. One other thing they say is that most of these areas, when you go there and you interview the people, they're able to tell you that the fire started from this area, and you believe that, or they can say emphatically that these people were cooking and they left the fire unattended to. And the investigations of the fire service mostly have also pointed to the same incident or same issue as the cause of the fire. So from what I've observed, it looks like some people are a bit careless in how they use fire in their homes, and this has been the reason why such fire incidents are being recorded in the region. For instance, if you go to the markets in the region, there are a lot of poor wiring in these markets. You know, some of these markets were built long ago, and since then there haven't been any major works on the wiring in these markets. And as the fire officer also said, he gave a similar reason for market fires. So it looks like what I observed corresponds with what the fire officer also gave us today. It's almost the same reasons for the cause of these fires.
But what have the people themselves been saying about these fires and what they're doing to minimize them?
Interestingly, especially in the slums, there haven't been much of work done by these slum dwellers. Immediately the fire sweeps through these slums, they come back within 2 or 3 days. They start raising their wooden shacks and go back to the place and live within the area and continue to go about the activities as if nothing ever happened. For instance, in the Gomba line, I've covered more than 4 different instances or 4 different fire incidents, and whenever you go back, you see these people coming back, setting up their wooden shacks, and start living their lives as if nothing happened. So there haven't been much of precaution taken by these people, especially the slum dwellers and also people in the slum markets in the region. So I think the Ghana National Fire Service will have to intensify efforts to help curtail such fire incidents.
But has there been any sensitization at all of the people about how to prevent these fires?
I've accompanied the National Fire Service on 2 occasions to some of these slums to help sensitize the people in the slums, especially during the dry season, so where when we have most of these incidents happening in the slums. So the Ghana National Fire Service have been on their toes. Sometimes you hear them on air, on various platforms, trying to sensitize the people on how to deal with fires, especially domestic fires, so that we won't have such incidents happening once again. The fire service are doing their part, but I think probably it will have to come with some enforcement to ensure that people do not adhere to the advice that they are being given by the fire service.
All right, thank you very much, Nana Aljima, bringing us that update. Moving on, Defense Minister Dominic Nitwul has revealed the military task force deployed to rid the country's water bodies of illegal mining is facing resistance in the communities where they have been assigned. Addressing the media on the second phase of Operation Halt, Mr. Nitwul disclosed how a chief at Chechureh mobilized the youth to face off the military task force who were camping in a senior high school there.
Most of the locals do not know or appreciate the dangers associated with the irresponsible mining. And particularly a community called Chechureh, I think, is that the name? Chechureh, where the local chief tried to mobilize the youth against the military. You have 400 soldiers, and they are helping you to clean your river body. They didn't go to seize your house to sleep. If they did, I will not be against it. But they are trying to sleep in a secondary school. And you, the chief, insist that they have no right to sleep in that structure. They should leave your town. That the nation has sent its troops to go and do this exercise. And you think that the soldiers have no right to sleep in the classroom in your town because you claim you excavate, 2 of your excavators were bent on the river body? I think that people like this must be answerable to their communities and their people. That chief who took that action and made the announcement that the youth should mobilize and go attack the 400 soldiers who were lying down there, what was he thinking he was doing? You are sending them to their death, their graves. I think that we rather need their help, the help of the chiefs, the opinion leaders, the assemblymen, the youth. Because as the soldiers gave me a brief today, most of the young people in the villages are those who are assisting them and showing them where the equipments are. They are not happy about what is happening. They are devastated that their own towns that they have seen clean water is now turning into things like this. And I thank those people for at least ensuring that they protect their heritage. It is your land. You must protect it. Don't allow anybody for the sake of money to destroy them. I do know that some of the mining companies have decided to form gangs, and they are having gangs. Report, and the military will flush those gangs off you and take them off your land.
My colleague Ernest Menu joins me now via Zoom with more from today's briefing. So, Ernest, despite what the minister has had to say, apparently there's been some success. Tell us more about that.
Yes, and so he talks about the destroying, he talks about 28 excavators that have been destroyed. We're looking at 267 Chamfine machines. And when you put that together with what was destroyed in the phase 1 of the operation, we're looking at over 400 Chamfine machines destroyed within the first and second operations. And so that's within 6 days, actually. And then you're looking at water pumps, drilling machines, plastic fuel tanks, wooden accommodation. Remember that because they're operating in forest areas, they put up these wooden structures that can help them, settle. And so some of these accommodations have also been destroyed. The minister talked about 8 industrial batteries that are also destroyed, and then 2 pump action guns, among many others. But it was also significant in the account he gave about a truckload of pumping machines that was seized by the team. And this truck is registered 2021, and the machines are quite fresh. They were moving into the forest reserves. And so these are some of the, things, the successes, I should say, that they have chalked as far as the second operation is concerned.
And how about arrests? How about arrests, Ernest?
Yeah, so you're talking about arrest. It's difficult hearing, but if you're talking about arrest, the minister says no arrest has been made in this second phase because the illegal miners often get hints of the task force approaching their zones. And so, they take to their heels literally, and it makes it impossible for them to also arrest. The other aspect of it is that, remember that they're supposed to be operating within a 100-meter radius. And so many of these illegal miners, according to the defense minister, have moved their machines far away from the zones that will warrant any arrest. And it puts the team in a dilemma as to whether or not these are people they could easily arrest because they are actually not within the zone. But you could find that these are machines that have been used in mining within those areas.
All right, and apparently the minister has also been speaking about the harassment of some of the small-scale miners. He reacts to that, so let's listen.
Well, that is, rogue imposters are taking advantage of the atmosphere and the quest for enforcement to go around the country harassing small-scale entities, people who are involved in small-scale mining. I want to clarify that what the military are engaged in is being codenamed or dubbed Operation Hall 2, and the Minister for Defense has been very clear about it. There's a lot of clarity on it. It's indicated, and we've all been on the same page from the very beginning to now, that relates to only the red zones, water bodies, forest reserves. In the case of water bodies, 100 meters away from the banks of any water body in our country. Forest reserves, we are clear about them. So that is the current ongoing operation. The military are not involved in any other operation. If there's going to be any other operation outside the Operation Hall 2, that will be sanctioned by the official authorities, either by myself, the Minister for Defense, or National Security, or whoever, or the government establishment. So I want to make it very clear that task forces which are moving about the country, harassing small-scale miners, whether they are involved in legal or illegal mining, the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources has not mandated the operation of any task forces. I believe that's very clear. The activities and or operations of Operation Vanguard has been suspended.
Burning of excavators has been topical, with many questioning its legality, but the Sector Minister Samuel Abu Jinapor says government will not back down.
There's been a big debate in the country about, I don't call burning of excavators, I don't use that word, I call it decommissioning or demobilizing of equipment which are used for illegal mining. The Ghana Armed Forces are engaged in the decommissioning and demobilizing of equipment which are used for illegalities in our country, and that is how I want to approach it. Now, well, the discourse is ongoing, but I will humbly suggest that perhaps we should also ask the question: what will an excavator be doing on River Pra? What will an excavator be doing on River Ofin, or a Chamfine be doing on River Pra? Ghanaians and all of us, I will respectfully submit that we should interrogate the issue from that point before we get to the stage of what has happened to that excavator and that is it right or wrong to decommission that excavator. The issues of legal, proprietary, or otherwise about military action, those are very historic, and those are matters that I believe across the world there have been debates about it. How do you treat prisoners of war? Guantanamo Bay, do you try them before a military tribunal, civilian tribunal, and so on and so forth? Those are matters I don't want to get involved in. But the military have their own methods of enforcement. And as a country, I think it's important that we appreciate that. But in terms of the social debate, I will once again contend that we begin the debate from what will an excavator possibly be doing on a river body. And I will very strongly but respectfully conclude by saying that it's either we are fighting this menace or we are not. It's either we are determined to clear our water bodies and forest reserves or we are not. We cannot waver in this matter. So the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, and for that matter, government, supports the Ghana Armed Forces in this patriotic work they are engaged in.
And I still have Ernest Menu with me. Ernest, so what's next in the fight against Galamsey?
And so the Defense Minister, Dominic Nitiwul, made some recommendations. He said that, first of all, the 100-meter radius rule may have to be reviewed going forward, because then it creates a certain dilemma for the team. And so perhaps they would have to widen that, because they're finding that the destruction is far worse than they actually anticipated. Tomorrow, we understand there's a forum in Kumasi where the ministry will be meeting all the stakeholders involved in this fight. Remember that the Small Scale Miners Association have raised issue with what they call harassment and the burning of the equipment of some of their members who they claim are actually working legally and within permitted zones. And so some of these issues are going to come up, and perhaps a review of the two operations so far. And we may get some indication into what will happen for the third phase. All
right. Thank you very much, Ernest Menu. Now, it took the intervention of the chief and police in Tum in the Eastern region to avert the lynching of 5 persons residents say are responsible for ritual murders there. They are said to have been arrested by the youth of Amanase near Suhum after a tip-off that they intended to abduct a boy. The chief of the area called on the police to come for the suspects. The youth, however, wanted to carry out instant justice, resulting in a clash. The police car was damaged, with a car belonging to one of the suspects burnt completely. Youth leader Richard Safro, who spoke with Joy News, alleges that one of the suspects is the husband of the spiritualist, said to be at the center of the gruesome killing of a 10-year-old boy at Kaswa Lamte. There's more in the following News Desk report.
In videos of the incident put on social media, more than 50 men are seen heading towards a building. Another man is heard saying they are taking the people away, causing the youth to double up the chase. Youth leader Richard Saforo says the youth moved in after they felt the men suspected to have attempted to abduct a boy will be let go.
He decided to take one of our brother's son to the spot, so he was giving drink to the small boy, but the small boy was insisting that he's not going to drink. So since people put him on the spot, they were monitoring his actions. So immediately they rushed on him and was asking him the reason why he was giving the guy those items. So they asked him, what is it? And he said it's water. But when they took it from him and they checked, it wasn't water. It was appetition mixed with some things, you understand.
In another footage, a car is ablaze. Richard explains what happened.
It belonged to one of the priest wasn't around, so it belonged to one of the priests. That's Wazinga. That car was 247 roaming in the town. 247. The chief called them and they obeyed instruction. Then came that they were like they wanted to do something so that they will escape. Then the chief called for the youth.
Richard alleges one of the suspects is connected to the alleged ritual murder that took place at Kaswa that led to the death of a 10-year-old boy. He explains a suspect is married to the priestess at the center of that controversy.
And her husband, the priestess' husband, is also the priest. But before you go there, you go and see the priest before the priestess before you see the husband, the priest.
Well, Eastern Region correspondent Maxwell Kudoko joins us via Zoom for more. Maxwell, what more do we know about these suspects and the alleged connection to the Kaswa ritual killing?
Well, the 5 suspects, according to the police, are, first of all, Prince Ajololo, aged 26 years, Solomon Ajololo, aged 28 years, Benjamin, aged 23 years, Felix Haya, aged 27 years, and Akwesi Tinkran, also aged 27 years. Now, according to intelligence picked in the community, there happened to be a big funeral in the area, Amanasi, and the youth realized that some people were parading in town as madmen or people whom you can describe as insane. But that was quite unusual in town. So the youth got somehow alert, and then they managed to find out that these guys were in town to engage in rituals. That is the reason or the core influencer of the arrest or the rescue of the gentleman. Now, the suspects are in the Suhum police custody, pending investigation. The police is very silent on the latest developments on the arrest or subsequent investigation, but we are still trying to reach out to the police and find out what the suspect have been telling the police. Just as was narrated by the gentleman, they suspect that one of the priests, one Wazenge, has a relationship with the priestess at Kaswa, the incident that happened recently in Kaswa. That is why the youth were so infuriated and they wanted to ensure instant justice last night when the incident happened.
Right, so there apparently has been quite some distraction. Tell us the extent of distraction in the town.
Yeah, first of all, the youth set ablaze one of the vehicles belonging to one of the priests who allegedly are part of this human sacrifice or ritual syndicate. So they set that vehicle ablaze. And in the course of the protest, a police vehicle belonging to one of the divisions also got spoiled. Because the youth were petting stone at the chief's palace and also at the police, they spoiled one police car. The district commander for Suhum Police Command also suffered some stones, and the divisional crime officer for the Chebi division also suffers from stone throws. But the major damage caused now happens to be the chief's palace. The chief had the suspect to such a time that police came to their rescue. So the youth pelted stone at the chief palace. They ended up destroying the entire roofing of the palace. The palace has got sliding doors and windows. So they broke the glass in the doors and the windows, and a couple of distraction within the house. So the major distraction or damage caused is on the chief's palace at Amanasi.
All right, thank you very much, Maxwell Kudako. You're watching Joy News Prime. We're taking a break to bring you business, but still ahead, we have an update on the National Science and Masquerades in the Central Region, where students and teachers of Agri Memorial Senior High School say no position will be an impediment in their quest for an NSMQ trophy. We'll be back in a bit.
You're welcome to Business. I'm Charles Aite. The Ghana Private Road Transport Union, GPLTU, has hinted that it could revert to the automatic adjustment system should engagement with the Transport Ministry over their call for an increase in transport fares from 10 to 15% fail. What this means is that the GPLTU will now be reviewing prices as and when fuel prices go up. The General Secretary, Godfred Abobri, spoke earlier on the marketplace.
Actually, we're going to do it rests in our hands to put us in business or reduce ourselves in the current situation. So we are mindful of what you said. So we are still going to do further negotiations. But this time around, we'll be looking at that, what margin will please our members and then to please our customers who will be coming to us. We will go tomorrow. At the margin by which we're asking for between 20% or whatever, generally per the reduction, no, we will not be asking for so much as that again.
Well, so what happens if your concerns are not met tomorrow? Because you're going to be meeting the energy minister, the transport minister tomorrow to iron out all these issues. What happens if you do not reach a conclusion tomorrow?
Well, see, the situation is that our members are agitated and they're not happy with the current situation. And then we were thinking that from the previous, as before we got to this stage, there was a formula called the automatic adjustment, which was being applied. So when we go there tomorrow and then we still don't get the decision concluded tomorrow, then we come back and take another decision before we go back to them.
Now, the National Tripartite Committee has begun final round of meetings to determine the new national minimum wage. Now, this was after the technical group of the committee submitted its report following some extensive engagement with stakeholders. The negotiations, which is chaired by the Minister Ignatius Bafo-Awuah, is expected to be finalized and finalize a proposed rate as a minimum wage for both public and private sector employees in the country. Government was not being able to fix a wage for this year because the 2021 budget, due to the challenges posed by COVID-19, was much more of a concern. To other news, government is aiming to attract Amazon to establish an African headquarters in Ghana. The Finance Minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, has hinted that the Ghana Investment Promotion Center, GIPC, is currently on the beat for this endeavor. But why Amazon? Well, first of all, we do know that Amazon focuses on e-commerce, cloud computing, and artificial intelligence. Also, it is one of the big 5 companies in the US after Google, Apple, Microsoft, and Facebook. Plus, according to Forbes, Amazon is the world's most valuable brand. So this could mean so much of investment and remittances for Ghana in the medium to long term in terms of its big tech space. We see how that one goes, but that's how we end the first edition of Business. We're back after 8. In the meantime, sport is up next. Just stay.
I'm Gary Al Smith, and that's how we begin the sport today. After the fact that Liverpool were unable to retain their trophy, it means then that City have broken a slew of records on their way to the title. But we'll look at that in other bulletins. For now, though, let's go to the Africa Cup of Nations for Women, or the Women's AFCON. Yesterday, we did tell you that the draw had been done. And interestingly, you might have noticed that some of Africa's best teams have been pitted against each other. We're here to do some analysis. And joining us from the US is my colleague and African football specialist, among other things, Colin Udo, who is with ESPN. Hi, Colin. Thank you very much for joining us from the States.
Hello, Gary. Thank you very much. How are you?
Doing well, thank you. The reason we have you here today is that once we show the pairings, it is quite clear that several of Africa's biggest women's football teams will not be there. And for the benefit of viewers, as you may have known, in the past, any team from anywhere in the continent could play with anybody else in the qualifier. So, for example, Ghana could be drawn against a team from Southern Africa or Eastern Africa or here in or Northern Africa as well, which was called the continental format. But a couple of years ago, CAF decided that this format was not good enough because only certain teams, they argued, were getting time at the highest level. Colin is here to take a look at that, because what this means on the screen is that Nigeria versus Ghana, one of these two teams will not be at the AFCON. Niger versus Cote d'Ivoire, one of these two teams will also not be at the AFCON. And if you know anything about African football, you know that Nigeria have won the AFCON 11 times, Ghana have made the final 4 times. Are we putting our best foot forward? Colin, over to you.
We're certainly not putting our best foot forward, Gary. And, you know, I struggle to find a rationale for this, what I'd call this insane idea from CAF. And part of what the justification I got from CAF officials was that they were trying to reduce travel times between teams in Africa, because a lot of teams were not encouraged to travel because the distances were so long. And I thought, I mean, why does that even make a difference? You have the African Women's Championship, which has 4 strong teams. You have, what, 54 countries in CAF in Africa. Out of that number, only 4 can be said to be the strongest women's teams in Africa. And that 4, you have Nigeria, you have Ghana, you have Cameroon, and then you've got South Africa. And then more recently, you could say the Ivory Coast. Now, based on some whatever reason that CAF have come up with, you've made sure that at least one of your strongest teams, either Ghana or Nigeria, would definitely not make it to the tournament. And if we stretch that maybe a little bit further to a worst case scenario, we might get to a point where neither Ghana nor Nigeria might get there, because the winner of Nigeria-Ghana gets to play the winner of Niger against Cote d'Ivoire. So there's a possibility that if CAF is not careful, both Nigeria and Ghana might not make it to the tournament. And you can't be saying that you want to improve women's football, and then you bring a situation where your best teams stay at home, no matter how good they are, no matter how well they play. So I think CAF have just dropped the bottle on this one. They really dropped it on this one.
So basically, I see a groundswell of opinion of those who are saying that we should revert to the old format. Are you one of those?
Of course, we should revert to the old format. Like I said, we're trying to develop African women's football. And the 4 teams that actually move African women's football for, how do you develop it? You get eyeballs, you get traffic. And that traffic comes from seeing games like Nigeria, Ghana, Nigeria, South Africa, Cameroon, South Africa, Cameroon, Ghana. Now, one of those is going to be missing. Possibly 2 of those are going to be missing.
Fantastic.
I mean, with all respect, who wants to watch Rwanda against Kenya when over Nigeria against Ghana or Nigeria against South Africa? It's not. Nobody's going to do that.
Nice
so
one.
It's an absolutely asinine decision by CAF.
All right, Colin, thank you, Short and Chris. I promised you it was going to be very to the point, and that's exactly what we've done. Colin Udor is a friend of this station. He's been with us for many, many years. Don't be a stranger, Colin. And that's the sport. I'm Gary Al Smith. On the other side, we'll be bringing you more trending issues. Thank you for your time.
All right, time for Showbiz. Becky Bex is here. Becky Bex Beckis.
Hello to you, Izzy.
Hi.
So yesterday I told you about the collaboration between Dinah and
Kofi Kinata.
It turns out that it wasn't really a musical collaboration.
Oh, was that?
Oh, yes. Let's listen to them.
So you have the 2 of you have created an impression that you are coming to release a track. Is that a track we are to expect, or this was it?
On Chance, we've got life, and this is Enterprise. You've got life.
Okay, so it wasn't actually a track.
Yeah, we just posted it and people started getting their own ideas.
So this won't even bring the 2 of you to want to record or to have a track?
We're going to do a lot. We have to do a song for Enterprise Live, and after that, you're not so sure you're not the backstage, because we don't go for a comment. I'm on the street will be meet gospel. No?
The street is meeting the gospel.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have it. The street is meeting. At least your expectations have been laid down, right?
Well, yeah, so there will be a collaboration musically, but it's certainly not now. It's just them being signed on.
Well, Enterprise got some great hype then.
I tell you, a lot of money. We bring some of the money. But Eno says that she is very focused on doing music that will impact the younger generation.
I get inspired by things that I have been through personally.
Okay.
And then things that I see and things that I experience, and then I put them together. Sometimes it's not like me, but things that I see people going through.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I have to experience it. I have to hear it to make a story about it, and I always want to sit down and write it. And
do you think about the impacts that it will make on your listeners or people who consume the music? Do you think when you sit down to write, you're thinking, oh, this song, when it finally goes out to the public, it might have so and so impact on so and so? And do you have like an age group, or maybe you're targeting the younger ones, you're targeting the older ones, and all of that?
I think when I started doing music, it was just for the fun aspect, because everybody was like, hey, the girl can rap, and I'll be happy. But later on, when I realized the kind of impact my music was making, I actually experienced that. I think when I released a song called Do Something with Wendy Shea, and I was talking to girls that we shouldn't like depend on men and stuff, and then I realized like people were taking it so serious and showing me the things they are doing, and I was like, oh, then I have to actually sit and have an impact. And first I always want to impress boys, because I thought girls don't really like rap music, but then it's like both genders. So I did a song called Heavy Load for girls who are like plus size to love themselves, and you could see how happy they were, and they always like the song, and then they love themselves to even do videos of themselves with the song. And so I keep inspiring with my music. I did live on my new album, and it's inspiring. Even God is a Woman. It's a song that if you're a woman and you find yourself anywhere, you should know you are the God out there, and just be the woman, the God woman over there.
God woman Becky.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much, Becky Bex, for bringing us Showbiz.
Anytime, easy.
See you tomorrow. And we have a summary of international news. Look at the top stories on myjoyonline.com. So City FM journalist Caleb Kuda allegedly picked up by national security operatives. That's the lead story there. And he has since been released. Now Ghana drops to 95th in 2021 World Happiness Ranking. Kwabena Agyapong welcome back to NPP after 6 years suspension as the former General Secretary of the New Patriotic Party. And Major Mahama trial, there's no pressure on police to investigate the case. There's more news on the Joy News channel. Stay tuned in. Many of the young girls flying a trade as Kayaye in Accra's markets have had to drop out of school. Old Stradama, where many of them live, has no public school. In the second of a 5-part series shining a light on the lives of head porters in Ghana, my colleague Justice Bedu asked Valentina Roberts, who he followed for days in Ghana's largest slum, why she left school, risk of getting raped in a slum, and dreams of going back home.
My name is Ibrahim Abubakar Sadiq. The school was established in 2013 and is taking care of Kai children so that their parents will go to market and come back with them safely. At first, the Kai girls were sending their children to the market, and we decided to take them from them so that we will be taking care of them in the from here so that they will go to the market and come back to meet them safely. We just want to change the future so that these children will not join their mother's paths in doing the Kai job.
Hala baliere usaka hala balewa aichinda kan trata usaka trata wa makabe wesu belawu la musu uswa da hampo enne muka kwa mchetela aka mugonne uya saka mu muka damu were yo fanam Dexam form at Tabakamupa, be gun be nakere, away dukes be amana, away is away magima. Mosako, Moyo, Bufandax for Ayogana, be nagere, away amanu be Kia Hapo, you Mabula Chilu to Ayobe Mana school, I can wear uniform, power. Rape and farming. Majorly, my baby, back in America, the best. Baira, the Saka Bamaka, we are Musaka Nawa, Mutua Chiri, I call him a checker, but cheerful. And Nakawa, I hear it. Makachaman Sanama. We have massage and kiss my Jessie and no, like Mutella and make a massage channel. I'm a shop. I'm a princess at the hand. I will. We are Galasamatra, and baby. Boy, you know, balloon now, honey.
As part of efforts to rid Accra of traffic and filth, government is stepping up its efforts to relocate bulk traders of onion, yam, and tomatoes from the present location in the heart of Accra to Agyen Kotoku in the Ga East municipality. On Tuesday, Regional Minister Henry Quartey led a team, including Accra Mayor Mohamed Ajay-Sowa and MCE for the Ga East Municipal Assembly Clement Wilkinson, to tour the market complex at Agyen Kotoku, which was originally meant to resettle residents and traders in Sodom and Gomorrah. They are assuring a seamless transfer and hopes of cleaner city after the operation. My colleague Kweku Asante followed them and came through this report.
It was a well-thought-out plan by government in 2007 when it decided to relocate the people of Old Fadama, popularly referred to as Sodom and Gomorrah, to Agyen Kotoku in the Ga West municipality of Accra. A decade and a half later, the plan is still hanging. But now, an alternative project, a bulk breaking market complex, which was completed in 2011 at great cost, is gradually being overtaken by weeds. The project is to resettle yam, tomatoes, and onion sellers to this part and rid the city of heavy vehicular traffic and afford these traders a conducive environment to trade. This facility was built as part of a redevelopment project at an initial cost of 172.2 million Ghana cedis. Mayor of Accra, Mohamed Ajay-Sowa, believes this is an important project which must be seen through.
We should be able to speed up the process, and we've identified these three products, i.e. the onion, yam, and probably the tomatoes. And if you're able to do so, I'm sure we will reduce the amount of traffic and congestion that goes in Accra. But all over the world, I mean, heavy trucks do not go into a central business district. because they go there. There's no even parking place for them. So they park right on the road and create all kinds of confusion on the road. And that's the essence of we coming here. This place was built way back during the President Kufuor's time. We've seen successive governments have come, we've not been able to relocate them. And there had been some issues, but barring the issues, we still have to take a decision and to make sure that the city have to run. And that's why we are here.
MCE of the Ga West Municipal Assembly, Clement Wilkinson, which is hosting the project, says the municipality is ready to receive the traders.
You know, this area is a gateway to Accra, and these heavy trucks that go down to the cities disturb a lot, and it gives a huge traffic. But if they are able to come here, it's going to reduce the traffic. So we welcome the idea that they should come around. It's a big space here. You can see the stores and the shed and everything. So welcome them, and we have really prepared. If you see the ground, even the ground is tight. It's not like where they are now. So at least we have prepared.
This market is made up of 2 large sheds, rows of shops numbering about 95, a fire service post and a police station. Greater Accra Regional Minister Henry Korte notes that the facility will rid the city of traffic and make Accra a cleaner city.
As we keep saying, under the Let's Make Accra Work agenda, one of the issues is to tackle sanitation head on, and also the indiscipline in the country, in the region. So as part of decongestion Accra, that area, as the mayor said earlier, we are not saying that we want to make life uncomfortable for them, but we think that moving them here rather will boost their businesses. Because as you can see, I doubt even when you go to the yam sellers, whether they have a place like this to keep their yam. So this is a better, more modern approach for them to do business.
This project in Ajane Kotoku was expanded at great cost to the Ghanaian taxpayer. It was supposed to rid the city of filth and also to decongest the city, as it was bringing some of these heavy trucks to this place, the yam traders, the tomato sellers, as well as the onion sellers, to this place to rid the city of filth, as well as to rid the city of unnecessary traffic. But close to 2 decades, this project has still not come to realization. The regional minister, as well as some MCEs, are making it a top of the agenda to ensure that this is open as soon as practicable. Reporting for Joy News, my name is Kweku Asante, reporting from Ajane Kotoku.
Now, some ex-police officers have petitioned the finance minister about the decision of the Comptroller and Accountant General to halt their pension payment. Joining us live from the studio, live Lover Film studio, is one of them, Stephen Safo Amwa, and he is a retired detective inspector. Thank you very much, Stephen. So tell us, what exactly is the complaint?
Thank you very much. In fact, the complaint is that on the 31st of August 2018, I decided to exit from the Ghana Police Service through voluntary retirement. And according to the laws of Ghana, and then the laws that governs the Ghana Police Service, that is the CI services, there's a way that you can exit from the Ghana Police Service through voluntary retirement. And in that case, you have to be at the age of 45 years and above before you can take a voluntary retirement. And in my case, I served the Ghana Police Service for 21 years. And at the time I was taking the voluntary retirement, I was 46 years. And the conditions were that you go voluntary retirement, you take your gratuities, and then you are paid monthly pension. And that is the rule, and that is the law. Now, when I took this path of voluntary retirement, the Comptroller and Accountant General paid me gratuity. But then they failed to pay the monthly pension. In fact, at the time I was taking this path, there hasn't been any any official notification from Controller and Accountant General to tell the Ghana Police Service that from henceforth, the Controller and Accountant General or the government is no more going to pay monthly pension after you have taken your gratuity. Nothing was said to me or was said to all those people who took voluntary retirement after September 2016. All those people who took voluntary retirement from September 2016 upwards have all not been paid monthly pension. And this has cost us so much, and that is the reason why we have come together to petition the finance minister and so many other places. In fact, when this matter came initially, I contacted the organization who employed me, that is the Ghana Police Service. I made inquiries and searches, but nobody was able to tell me actually the reason why the controller has taken that decision. And so officially I have to write a petition to the IGP, the Inspector General of Police, asking the reason why I took voluntary retirement, but what I'm supposed to get from the government, I am not getting. As I speak to you, the Inspector General of Police has never responded to my petition. I've written several petitions to the Controller and Accountant General to explain to me and to us the reason why they have taken that path. Controller and Accountant General, as I speak to you, has never responded to my request.
How many of you are there?
Currently, officially, we are about 20 people.
Okay.
That is those that I know.
All right.
About 20.
But you say the regular practice, and those who have gone ahead of you or taking advantage of the voluntary retirement ahead of you have been receiving their monthly pensions?
Yes, please. Yes. I am aware of a senior of mine who took voluntary retirement at the age of 54, 2016, and is still receiving his monthly pension. It is a law. You go to Article 199, that is the 1992 Constitution. It states clearly. You go to Regulation 1, that is Regulation 121 and 122 of the CI 76. It has also stated it clear. You go to voluntary retirement, that is Regulation 121. That is voluntary retirement. You go to Regulation 122. That is gratuity. It talks about gratuity. And so you look at the gratuity. The gratuity is for compulsory retirement and then voluntary retirement. And then the pension scheme too is for both. You understand? And so since the First Republic, ever since Ghana Police Service was introduced into this country, voluntary retirement personnel, pensioners, have always been taking monthly pension until 2016, September, thereabout, that they stopped paying. But in fact, and even if the Controller and Accountant General want to take this position, even if it is a regulation or it is a policy, I think that the policy must be communicated to the people who will be affected.
All right.
So that if I am going to take voluntary retirement, I can be informed by that decision that from now or from henceforth, I am not going to take a monthly pension so that I take my decision. But in this case, nobody, you call Ghana Police Service, the police administration, you ask them, they will tell you they don't have any official notification or official instruction from the Controller and Accountant General.
Have you considered getting a lawyer to look into this for you?
Yes, we have engaged some lawyers to write a lot of letters to Controller and Accountant General and even to the Attorney General. None of them has responded to us in this particular case, as I speak to you.
All right. Thank you very much, Stephen Safo Amwa. It's a retired detective inspector who says his monthly pensions are not forthcoming. President of the Central Regional House of Chiefs, Odiefo Amuakwa Boadu the 8th, is asking political parties in the country to make their political campaign billboards available for road safety campaigns now that the elections are over. According to him, the staggering statistics from road crashes in the country have become imperative for political parties to show their commitment in the fight to make the country's roads safer. Addressing the first general meeting of the Central House of Chiefs in Cape Coast, he promised the House of Chiefs would be liaising with the Road Safety Authority and other relevant stakeholders in their bid to help make the roads safer. Richard Kojo-Nyako has more.
The president of the Central Regional House of Chiefs, Odiefo Amuakwa Boadu the 8th, indicated the country could no longer wait for many lives to be lost on our roads before actions are taken. He says proactivity and commitment from all was needed to address the challenge.
Fatalities from road accidents remain high, and there is the need for all related stakeholders to play a more proactive role to address the issue. It is important that Nananum play a leading role in making our roads safer. The Central Regional House of Chiefs will be liaising with institutions such as the National Road Safety Commission, Motor Traffic Transport Department of the Ghana Police Service, and other civil society organizations in road safety to make the Central Region safer. We will support aggressive road safety campaigns, and for that reason, we will appeal to political parties to make available their billboards for road safety campaigns now that elections are over.
Transport Minister Kweku Ofori-Esiama sought the support of the Regional House of Chiefs across the country to get involved in the fight to make the country's roads safer. He indicated government was rolling out the installation of street cameras on the country's roads to deal with errant drivers.
I'm a political coin. Say, young fast speed cameras. The best share council, the banning kakra. And this
government has given the police service to go ahead to install street cameras gradually on our roads to put people in check. When the cameras identify you that you have passed through red light, involved in any unnecessary overtaking, or committed any road safety infractions, you would be punished. Your bill would be presented to you to pay. If you fail to pay, you would be taken to court. Our media friends here should support us in this endeavor. We need a lot of discipline on our roads. Statistics indicate that out of 10 accidents, the causative factors are human errors. Central Regional Minister Justina Marigood-Hassan told the chiefs the Regional Coordinating Council was preparing a strategic development policy which would address the needs and aspirations of the people in the region. Richard Kojo-Nyako, Joy News, Cape Coast.
Now, time for our Drive Safe campaign, and the question I want to put to you is, are you one of those who ignore the lights of your dashboard, or you take them seriously? Today we bring you the importance of the dashboard. I mean, that control panel set within the central console of your vehicle. Here's automobile technician Jacob Amumensa of Top Tech Logistics and Transport.
There are some instruments on the instrumentation panel which each and every driver should understand what exactly it communicates to. We have the first one being the tachometer, which spells T-A-C-H-O, tachometer, or the rev counter. It is connected to the engine, which tells you the power of your engine. It tells you the power of your engine, how your engine revolves. If we look at it, we can see times 1000 R/mean. It tells us that our engine revolves 1000 times every minute. Every minute your engine revolves 1000 times. That is how come when you start your engine in the morning, the red nozzle rises above 1. The calibrations we are seeing in there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up to 6, are in thousands. They are not able to write 1000. That is why they use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to represent it. When we also look at it, we see a part shaded red, which we are going to talk about it. The same tachometer tells you if your car is consuming fuel. If in the local dialect, most taxi drivers will be saying, they'll call the mechanic and say that, oh, Masami Jane was wrong, which means that the power of the engine is too high. What makes them know is the tachometer. When you start your engine early in the morning, the red nozzle needs to go up. It goes above 1,000. Within the shortest possible time, it needs to drop below 1,000, which is, when you divide it into two, it should be between 1,000 and 500, which tells you that your engine is running the normal way. But the moment it rises above 1, which is 1,000, and stays there for a long time, then your engine is running twice the normal way, whilst it is stable, it's not moved. If you move the car, then it's going to run more. That's how come sometimes our car will be consuming fuel. Apart from the spark plugs consuming fuel, this also prompts you that your car is really consuming fuel.
Well, I trust you learned something new. The Ghana Navy is optimistic of winning laurels at this year's Exercise Tigers Path competition scheduled in July. A two-day exercise was organized to enable the Navy select competent and deserving officers to represent the force in the annual competition organized for the Ghana Armed Forces. Fred Kwame Asare witnessed the exercise and has more in the following report.
Team Alpha, Bravo and Charlie, made up of officers across the ranks, participated in the 2 days competition at the Naval Training Command, NUTECO.
Alpha is from the Western Naval Command. Team Bravo is from the Eastern Naval Command. And then Team Charlie is a hybrid team from the Navy headquarters and then the Naval Training Command.
The competition began with team members carrying bags weighing 20 kilograms and traveled a 30-kilometer journey through the jungle. During the exercise, they were scored on their jungle navigation abilities, first aid response, and leadership skills. The final lap of the competition was the obstacle stage, where the participants were to complete various hurdles to test their endurance level. Team Alpha and Bravo lost points as some members were unable to complete the final hurdle. Team Charlie, however, exhibited great teamwork and endurance, completing the lap with 200 points. Team Charlie was adjudged winners of the competition with 525 points. Able Seaman Omari, Ordinary Seaman Anto won the best male and female participants, while Acting Staff Lieutenant Amwa Ajiman picked the best officer participants. Chief Staff Officer of the Naval Headquarters, Burma Camp, Commodore G.L. Blessing, expressed satisfaction at the commitment and morale of the participants.
I must again emphasize here that the Navy's participation in this year's edition of Exercise Tigers Path should be one that wins us laurels and not one of mere competition. On that note, I want to assure you that all of this sales support and other administrative requirements for the exercise will receive utmost attention of High Command to facilitate your preparations.
Fred Kwame Asare, Joy News, NUTECO.
Ashanti region, where there's been yet another fire outbreak, unfortunately, this evening. You recall in the last hour, we have been speaking to our colleague Nane Aljima, who's been sharing his observations, as well as the measures to prevent future fires. It seems things are not getting any better. One new fire in Kumasi has been reported in the Kejetia market. Ohiming Teria is joining us live from there. Ohiming, what more can you report?
The country, one is being done at Takoradi now. Let us get them done in Accra, done in Ho. All regional capitals must have something like this. And the cost of losing valuable property by clients and tenants and among others will really come down. Oh, I can assure you that fire happens in the US, the UK, everywhere. But the system response is right. And we are getting it right this time. We are grateful for the contribution of everybody who, one way or the other, helped us to put this fire to its quiet. We're going to open the market tomorrow around 11. We'll not do it this early because we will have to go back and test all the systems again. We're going to get the professionals, the fire service, the engineers, electrical engineers, the mechanical engineers who have to come in, work with us, and then the security as well to ensure that everything is in order, after which we open the market for people to come in, because people must be assured of their safety. Everybody. In fact, life is the most important ingredient one has, whatever it is. So we must ensure that the safety and people are protected. And so we'll do that in the morning, clean up, make sure the whole place is put in good order. Then we'll open for our valuable clients to come in and do business. One wonderful thing is that there's been good rapport between all parties. And so we are grateful. We are grateful. It's a difficult situation, but we are grateful for the contribution of everybody to resolve this matter.
Any assurance to the traders?
Yes, we assure them that management is there to serve its purpose. Management is there to ensure that their goods and their lives are protected, are given utmost protection, and we will do that. So let traders be rest assured. Let traders, I can tell them they can go to sleep and wake up, and Kejetia markets, as it was built, its intended purpose and its operation will continue to be.
What do we have for this affected trader?
It will be too early. We're going to meet this affected trader tomorrow. But don't forget, this affected trader, one way or the other, is also the cause of this situation. Because when we opened the shop, we realized all electrical gadgets were on. If they had been off, they wouldn't have happened. Yes, and so in as much as we show the sympathy, we also have to ensure that the wrong person or the person causing this will have to be brought to order. We do too much of the sympathy, and we allow the law to just run away. This time we want to apply the law. In as much as we are going to be sympathetic, we are going to ensure that if they are the cause of it, yes, the law must take its course. I wish I could say something else, but the principles of it are the facts of it also. And so we will speak to her. She's around. We are still going to talk to her. We're going to console her. But then she has to also go and explain to us when the fire service sets up its committee to let us know why that's what led to that. We need to get to the bottom of it. If we sweep it under the carpet, somebody may repeat it. Yes, and we need not do that. Thank you.
Only the assurance. Only the assurance. Hello, Fred. Up on this new development, a fire incident recorded here. So, Chief, thanks for the opportunity to speak to us. What have you been observing as far as this fire is concerned?
Well, you see, I have with me here the managing director for this facility, and the report that was given to me indicates that around 6:30, the manager was in his office. In fact, he's the last person to leave here. He always waits until the cleaners have done their job He's gone around to inspect whether the facility is safe before he will leave here. So once he was in the office, he heard an alarm. And anytime you hear such an alarm, it means that something has happened. So he immediately rushed into our ICT room. So when he went there, he noticed that there was red dot on the 2 numbers, meaning that the problem was on the 2 numbers. So we also have here the fire post. So he rushed to the fire service, informed them, and hurriedly they all went there. And when they went there, they saw the place was in smoke. Meanwhile, the shop has been locked. So they forced open the place and immediately started. Sprinklers open. So the sprinklers also opened, and fortunately, the hydrant were also working. So the firefighters used the hydrant, and also the support of the people around, they were able to quench the fire. In fact, after quenching the fire, they saw that, well, all the electrical appliances were on. But as to the reason why the fire, that can only be ascertained by the fire service personnel. So now we will leave it up to their expert judgment for them to come out with a report for us to know exactly the cause of the fire. But it was one shop that got fire, one shop that was inflamed. But with the timely intervention of the firefighters and with also the sprinklers working as well as the hydrant also working, we were able to quench the fire. There wasn't much damage to the facility. But yet, we are still sending this message around to all the users that tomorrow the facility will be open around 11 o'clock because we want the fire service personnel to move around and also to allow the electricians to also move around and to ascertain. Then the cleaners also to move around because within the...
Right, so that's the very latest on the fire at the new Kejetia market. It affected one stall and it has been brought under control. Now, students and teachers of Agri Memorial Senior High School say no school will be an impediment in their quest for a first National Science and Maths Quiz trophy. They nearly missed the opportunity to be on the national stage on day 2 of the Central Regional Qualifiers. Maxwell Agbagba has more from the University of Cape Coast, where regional contests are taking place for the main competition in October.
Our mothers are your slave, and let the peace of heaven be for us always. Say we must to fulfill our trust, our time to live and shine to live our God.
It's day 2 of the National Science and Maths Quiz. Agri Memorial Senior High School has qualified to the 2021 national competition in October, and they cannot stop celebrating. It was a narrow win for them, a narrow escape. In fact, in the 3rd round, it was 34-34 with Aguna Prosek, but later they managed to beat them in the final round with 6 points. Excitement here. Congratulations, guys. How excited are you?
In fact, I'm very excited. We put so much into this with the support from the headmistress and the school management and the old students, and with prayer, with the teachers, the team, the entire team, you know, the dedication in the part of the students, and it has really paid well. It has really paid well. So,
what should we expect in October at the national competition? This is just the regional.
In fact, at the national, expect fireworks. Expect fireworks from Agri Memorial. Yes, expect a superb, performance.
Yes. The God of Mount Zion.
You're the coordinator.
Yes, please.
What's your name?
I'm Charles Diroxi Edufo.
Okay. Congratulations to Agri Memorial. We're taking a break to bring you more business. Stay tuned.
You're welcome to business. The ECOWAS Bank for Investment and Development has called on government and private sector in West Africa to borrow funds from institutions within the African continent. According to the Vice President of the Finance and Corporate Services, Dr. Mabuda Dane, this would help build capacity of African economies. He was speaking at the International Conference on the West African Food Security Storage System. We have more in this report.
ECOWAS held a conference in Accra which brought together ministers of agriculture in West Africa to discuss food security storage in the region. Speaking at the conference, Vice President of Finance and Corporate Services at ECOWAS Bank for Investment and Development, Mr. Mabuba Diang, called on governments and private sector companies in West Africa to request from funds available.
I am calling all our private sector operations, all our public sector partners. ABID has mobilized more than $200 million. Please come to us with well-elaborated business plan to support you for the financing. We have raised the money is available, and I am calling governments and private sector to put a very efficient business line and to get financing.
The conference was based on the theme, West African Food Security Storage System Towards a Multilateral Partnership. The Minister for Food and Agriculture, Dr. Owusu Akoto-Efriye, urged his fellow ministers in the sub-region to do everything possible to prevent hunger from going up.
I wish to encourage all member states to fulfill their commitments towards the consolidation and strengthening of this laudable project. Mindful of the fact that the number of our population who grow hungry keep on increasing exponentially with time. Reports from the Commission indicate that the number of our population going hungry skyrocketed from 4 million in 2018 to 16 million in 2019, went up to 20 million in 2020, and is estimated to reach 27 million by the end of 2021.
World Bank representative for West Africa, Amadou Ba, revealed that the Bretton Woods institution is putting measures in place to commence a project to help address hunger on the continent.
The World Bank Group started preparing a new flagship project in the area of food security called Resilience Program of Food Security System in West Africa, and we are waiting for the approval of this project. This food system resilience provides for specific support for the operationalization of the regional food security reserve.
Maoli Benson, CEO of Glofet Limited, an agricultural chemical manufacturer, also pledged on behalf of the private sector to support in eliminating hunger in West Africa.
The private sector is key to achieving the goals that we've set for ourselves, that is food security for the sub-region. We have donor agencies that are ready to support, pledge that we will support in any area and every area that we can to ensure that these goals are achieved.
Now, the Ministry of Food and Agriculture is concerned funding to horticulturists to promote greenhouse farming has not yielded results over the years. It is now putting in place requirements for acquisition of funds for such projects. Head of a Horticulture Development Unit at the Ministry, Esther Ajekum, has been speaking to the Fresh Green Ghana Project Conference in Accra, of which we have more in this report.
Private agribusinesses have organized the Fresh Green Ghana Project Knowledge Sharing Conference to deliberate on promoting safe greenhouse production in Ghana. Speaking at the conference in Accra, Acting Head of Horticulture Development Unit at the Ministry of Food and Agriculture, Esther Ajekum, revealed that the ministry has funded projects which did not yield expected results, hence the requirements laid out by the ministry to guide horticulturalists.
Some recommendations from the Delphi report. It indicated the basic design specifications with regards to the units, the construction, climate control mechanisms, and other things. For instance, that borders on managing the temperatures, relative humidity, the light intensity, the covering, the irrigation and fertigation systems, then the pest and disease control and the others. I think, as has been brought forth here, our need for greenhouse production is very different from the very temperate regions. Sometimes sitting at the horticulture deck, sometimes I get frustrated and a bit saddened when people invest in the structures and it doesn't deliver.
The conference was spearheaded by Agri Impact Consult in collaboration with Safisana and Urban Jungle, among others. CEO of Agri Impact Consult, Dan Akwe, shares the experience of his outfit in greenhouse production over the years. According to him, despite the challenges in the sector, the Ministry of Food and Agriculture is not to blame because the challenges are natural factors.
The issue of humidity and temperature is still a major concern to greenhouse producers in Ghana. So we designed these projects to track temperature and humidity outside the greenhouse, inside the greenhouse, and produce in transit. Produce in transit. Produce in transit in the sense that if I harvest my greenhouse from Brekusu or Dowenya, from Agritop, and I'm not using a cold van, and I'm transporting in an ordinary vehicle, from the time I pick my produce at Dowenya, I have to check the temperature. By the time I get to Makola, Abobloshi, or wherever I'm going to, I should also know the temperature. For us to determine how the plants perform between the point of supply and the point of selling, whether there has been any change in temperature build-up or temperature reduction.
Meanwhile, Emmanuel Autry, Agripreneurship Development Manager at Agri Impact Consult, expressed optimism for the future of greenhouse production in Ghana.
The future is very, very, very big because it's going to make sure that we get all year-round vegetables. It's also going to help avoid the unnecessary hikes in prices of vegetables. And also it's going to create a lot of jobs for the youth because in greenhouse production, you are not going to be on the farm in tattered clothes, cutlasses and all that. So job creation, healthy vegetables, and also cut down on the importation of fruit and vegetables from places like Burkina Faso and Togo and all those countries that we import from.
Let's now bring you a summary of international business news. And that'll be it for Business with me, Charles Aite. Gary L. Smith is on standby for sports this day.
Thank you for staying with us on Joy News Prime. Gary L. Smith here with the second batch of the sport. In our first story, the board of the Ghana Rugby Football Union, the GRFU, have suspended their chairman and chief executive officer, Herbert Mensah, indefinitely. The board arrived at a decision to suspend the former CEO of Asante Kotoko after a meeting on Tuesday and named the vice chairman, James Nunu, as the acting president. Was the meeting held to suspend Mensah constitutional? Well, Joy Sports Asari Bediako has been finding out.
In late April this year, the Ghana Rugby Union Players Association GRUPA petitioned the board of the Ghana Rugby Football Union to force Herbert Mensah to step down within 72 hours. He was accused of unilateralism and conflict of interest. Herbert Mensah did not respond to the allegations leveled against him, and the board at a meeting on Tuesday, May 11, suspended him. However, Joy Sports checks reveal the meeting was unconstitutional per the constitution of the Ghana Rugby Football Union. Board meetings are called by the board chairman and not the president of the union. Therefore, the vice president of the union, James Nunu, cannot call a board meeting. Also, notice of a board meeting should be given to members not less than a week before the date of meeting. The board meeting to suspend Herbert Mensah was not called by the board chairman. Neither was the mandatory 1 week prior notice given to board members. The decision of the Ghana Rugby Board may not inure to the benefit of the sport, as it will attract sanctions from Africa Rugby. Cameroon and Nigeria were recently sanctioned by Africa Rugby for non-compliance. Ghana Rugby has undergone massive transformation since Herbert Mensah took over as president on June 5, 2014. Ghana is now ranked 9th in Africa, despite not being a recognized rugby playing nation.
Let's talk about the May night disaster, which was commemorated a couple of days ago because the Director General of the National Sports Authority, Professor Peter Twumasi, has attributed the country's success in averting further incidents of that nature to the authority's implementation of the Okudzeto Commission's report.
The National Sports Authority, as the custodians of the state-funded sporting facilities in Ghana, has implemented largely the various recommendations made by the Okudzeto Commission set up by the former president, His Excellency President J. Kufuor, in order to avoid or reduce the level of casualties to the barest minimum in case of any similar emergencies. We can confidently say that all the renovated stadia and the newly built ones, thanks to His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and his vision for infrastructural development in this nation.
Veteran sports journalist Carl Tufo says the COVID-19 pandemic will be an impediment to the successful organization of games all over the world. And once the organizers of the Africa Games, that is the African Union, the Association of the National Olympic Committees of Africa, ANOCA, and also the Association of African Sports Confederations, to postpone the 2023 event scheduled to be held in Ghana to another date.
When we want to do things in an indoor arena, particularly in this day, it becomes worrying and vexatious. Tennis, the sports tennis, is allowing fans in because it's an open area. The United States basketball, now that they started the NBA, look at the number of people there. Look at the mask that they are forced to wear, but more importantly, the facilities are there. About check nine how do you call it? Temperature nine how do you call those things? The temperature gun. No, not them. No, the COVID. Have you taken the vaccine? All those things have been done. Can we say the same here? No. Granted, I've taken my own. By God's grace, I saw your news item. Another batch has come, but my 28 days has passed. I don't know if it means I have to take 2 again. Like the vaccine. But you see, within this era, for me, I would never advocate they take it away from Ghana. I think I'm too patriotic enough for that.
Yeah, I also think.
But I think we should postpone it for at least 2 years.
This comes on the back, of course, of Dr. Kofi Amoah also saying that it wouldn't be prudent to build the proposed multi-sport facility at Botima, the 50,000 capacity stadium. That's the sport for now. I'm Gary Al Smith. I will be back at 10:30 for Fan Zone. Thank you for your time.
Bulletin. I'm Israelite. Thank you very much for watching.